Hello everyone and welcome back. Tired of wrestling with SQL code? Imagine a tool that writes your queries for you just by asking in plain English. Yeah, this is possible now, okay? I would wish you could bend SQL to your will with just a wave of your keyboard. We have harnessed the power of Google's cutting-edge Gemini AI to understand your plain English and craft the perfect SQL query. And with StreamLit's user-friendly interface, your data will come alive with stunning visuals and interactive tables, okay? Ready to unleash the force of cutting-edge technologies? Subscribe to join the quest for SQL mastery. In this particular video, we are joining Google's cutting-edge Gemini Pro model with StreamLit's powerful user interface to make an application that can generate SQL queries for you, along with the expected output and explanation. So without further ado, let's get started. So first of all, let's try to see how our application will look like. So here is a simple UI you can see right over here. I just gave it in a prompt like bring unique age from employee table. You can see that it just brought back the SQL query. And in the tabular form, it's saying like the expected response would look like this way. And it also showed you like the explanation. And that's actually looking really nice. Okay. Alright, so as you've seen the demo of the project and like it's actually working really nice. So now let's see how to actually set up our project, okay? So for that, I will simply create a new folder and I will call it as SQL Query Generator, okay? Then I will open up this folder inside of CMD and here I will type in like code space dot and hit enter to open this thing inside of VS Code. Okay, so it's open inside of VS Code. You can see right over here. Okay, so first of all, let's try to install the dependencies of our project. So I will simply open up a new terminal, okay, and make sure that you're inside of like this SQL Query Generator folder. And I'll simply try to install these dependencies by typing pip install -q-u Google Generative AI, okay? Because we're going to use Google's Gemini Pro model to actually implement this project, okay? So we need to install this particular library. So I'll simply hit enter. It will take a while and you won't see anything on the screen because it has like -q, okay? It's basically the silent installation of packages. It's done, you can see right over here. So now I will simply create a new file and that would be my Python file and I will call it as like app.py. In this, all of our logic and code will go, okay? So now let's try to see how to implement front end of this application. That's pretty much simple in our scenario. So first of all, I will import like streamlit as st, okay? Then I will define like a main function. I'll call it as main, okay? And inside of this main function, all of our like implementation will go, okay? First of all, I'll set up the page config and the title would be like SQL Query Generator, okay? And I'm giving this like an emoji. It's totally up to you. If you want to ignore this thing, you can do that as well, okay? Then we have like st.markdown function from streamlit, okay? And for that, I can simply give it like plain HTML style, okay? I'm starting with like a div, okay? I'll close this thing here. And in here, what I'll do, first of all, with the help of h1 tag, I can say like SQL Query Generator. Maybe I can give it like a couple of more emojis here, okay? So that's looking nice. Then I can provide it with like h3 tag, okay? And it could say like I can generate SQL queries for you, okay? Then we can give it like a p tag to explain like what this tool does, okay? It says like this tool is a simple tool that allows you to generate SQL queries based on your data. I can call it as like based on your prompts, okay? And here I can give another like h4 tag, okay? It's totally up to you, like how you actually do this, okay? I can say with explanation as well, because it will explain our SQL queries as well. That would be like great in our scenario, okay? So if I just save this file and I open up a new terminal, and if I just try to run this app, by just saying like streamlit run app.py. Okay, hit enter. It will spin up a server for you. I'll open up Chrome and I'll paste in my link here. So you see here that it's not showing anything. The reason because I didn't actually run this main function. Okay, so I'll copy this thing from here, run it all the way down here. Okay, so if I just now refresh my application, then you will see like you can see this thing right over here. The problem is that I haven't allowed I need to actually set unsafe allow HTML equals true. Okay, now if I just try to refresh my page, so now you can see that it's allowing the HTML, plain HTML. So you can see right over here, this is our header. Then we have like a simple h3 tag with h4 tag as well. And then we have like a simple p tag. And this is our page config right on the top. So I hope you got this. Okay. Now we actually need a text input field. So I can call it as text underscore input. Yeah, that's fine. The reason why I am getting these snippets is because that I am using Amazon Code Whisperer, okay, inside of VS Code. It's a great and handy extension. So you can check out that as well. Okay. So I can say st dot, like you can see, it's giving me the suggestion because of this Amazon Code Whisperer right inside of my VS Code. So I can say like enter your query here in plain English probably. Okay. So that would be nice. Okay. So if I now refresh my page, so I will get in like to enter my query. I think I don't need a text input field. Rather, I need text area. Okay. That would be more nice in our scenario. Yeah. Now it's looking nice. If someone wants to expand this, they can do that as well. Okay. So this is the power of streamlit and small application. So all right. Now what we need a submit button. Okay. So I can simply say submit equals st.button. Yeah, generate SQL query is fine. Okay. Yeah, that's looking great. Okay. Here someone will come and enter their query, and then they can just click on generate SQL query button. So yeah, that's looking nice. Okay. So yeah, I think that's it for our front end part. Okay. Now let's just dive into the back end or like the main of this application. Okay, where we'll be using like Gemini Pro model. That's really a powerful one. It's just been released by Google and it's like one of the most powerful like model, and currently it's totally free. Okay, so for that I need to import another library which we recently installed. I can say import Google.generative AI. Okay, as Gen AI. Okay, yeah, it's done. Now what I can do, I need Google API key. So I can say like Google underscore API underscore key, and your API key goes right here. Okay, how you can get the API key? For that you need to go to like makersuite.google.com. Okay, and then you can just come on to like this thing. This is actually the website of Google AI Studio. You can just come on to this, like get API key, and from here you can create a new API key for your project. Okay, so I already have done that. So here I will simply paste in my API key. So I will paste in my API key right here. So this is my API key. So that's great. Okay, now we need to do a little bit of configuration. So I can say gen ai.configure, and here I will provide in with my API key. I will say API underscore key equals Google API key. Okay, that's it for the configuration part, and you can see that it's really simple. Okay, now we need to specify our model. I can say model equals gen AI dot generative model. Okay, and that would be equal to Gemini Pro. Google currently has two models available. One is Gemini Pro and another one is Gemini Pro Vision. Okay, so for our particular project, we are not dealing with images or like vision, so we will use like Gemini Pro 1. That's really a powerful model in the market right now. Okay, and it's hot as well because it's totally free. Like it's free if you are like doing probably like 60 queries per minute. So that's pretty much like a decent number in my opinion. Okay, You can see right over here that we have imported Gen AI from Google Generative AI. Okay. Then we have configured our like API key. So this is my API key. We can also provide it inside of like environment variable, but for now it's actually fine. Okay, you don't have to. Then what we have done, we have configured Gen AI with API key, and then we have like loaded the model, which is Gemini Pro. Okay, that's really nice. Now let's try to see how to get a simple response from this model. Okay, so we have loaded our model. Okay, you can see right over here. We also have like text input. So here what we can do, we can simply say like response equals model dot generate. Actually, it's generate underscore content, and we are providing it with like text input. Okay, then we can print this response onto the screen, which is like response dot text. Okay, that's pretty much simple. In just 2 lines, you can take back the response from like Google's Gemini model. So that's really amazing and awesome. Okay, now let's try to see this response on the screen as well. So for that, what I can do, I can simply say if submit. Like if submit button is pressed, what you can do, you can write like the response on like screen. st.write is the function for that. Okay, let's just try to run this thing. Oops, I get an error. Okay, all right, I got it, because whenever I load the page, you can see right over here that response is outside of like this thing, like if submit button is pressed. So what I can do, I can bring it back inside here. Okay, now my error will be resolved, I guess. Yes. Okay, so if I say like hello, how are you? Okay, and then we click on this button, you can see right over here that it's working. It brought back the response like, I am fantastic, I am a large language model trained by Google, and I am always learning and improving. I can help you with a wide variety of tasks, including answering your question, generating text, translating languages, and writing different kind of creative content. How can I help you today? Okay, so you can see that that's really a great response. Okay, let's try to take back some other response. I can say write a 100-word article on Gen AI, for instance. Okay, let's see whether it brings back the response or not. It's running. You can see on the top. So you can see that it's really great response. You can read it from here as well. Okay, so our model is working perfectly fine. Now, what we need to do, we can simply tweak with our like text input, so that whenever it is like fed into the model, it knows that we want an SQL query back. Okay, so we have to do that thing. So I will get rid of this thing. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll simply load up a spinner here. Okay, so that would look really nice. I could say st.spinner, so it would like say generating SQL query. Okay, so that's fine. Now I need to make up a template, okay, which I can use. I can say template equals, so this would be my template. So I could say like create a SQL query snippet using the below text. Okay, I am like telling the model I'm fixing my template here. Now here what I can do, I can provide in with like my text underscore input. Okay, like this text which user will enter here, okay, will go inside of like this thing after like create a SQL query snippet using the below text. Now I can specify here that I just want a SQL query, because we don't want any explanation here. We just want our SQL query to be returned. Okay, so now what I'll do, I will try to format my template. So I could say like formatted template. So yeah, this one is fine. Like template.format, and I can specify that text input, which is here, equals like text input from like above. Okay, so this thing is great. Okay, now let me just try to write it on the screen so that we could know what our like template will look like. So if I say like bring unique age from employee table, okay, suppose I'm giving it like with this query to generate a SQL query. So if I click on generate, so my response will look like this, which will actually go to our model, okay, so that our model can understand and bring back the response. Yeah, now I can simply feed it to like model. I could just specify the generate content function from model, and I will provide it with like the formatted template. And now what I can say SQL underscore query is my response dot text. Okay, and let me just try to write the SQL query on the screen as well. Okay, so let me just try to save this thing and let me just try to run it and see whether it brings back the query or not. Okay, so if I just click it once again, so you can see that it just brought back the query, and that's really awesome. Okay, now we want two more things here. First, what we need is like expected output, which we can actually show to our users that after like writing this query, you could get the response in form of like this. We want a tabular form for that. Okay, so for that, we can actually create another variable just like this template. Okay, and I could name it as like expected underscore output. Okay, and I can simply replace it with like this thing. I could say like, what would be the expected response of this SQL query snippet? Okay, like I will provide in with like this SQL query here, and I can say like provide sample tabular response with no explanation. Okay, now I can simply format this thing as well. I could say expected output underscore formatted and this one, and I will provide like expected output dot format and SQL query equals SQL query. Now I can simply do the same thing here as well. I can say like output actually, which is my expected output equals model dot generate content, and I can provide it with like expected output underscore formatted. Okay, now I can say like output actually, like my expected output actually is equals to output dot text. Okay, now I can write output on the screen as well to see whether it's working fine or not. Let me just try to run it once again. So you can see that it said like my expected output would look like this. Okay, so that's really great. It's working perfectly fine. Now I need the explanation of this thing as well. For that, I will simply just copy this once again, paste it here, and I can say like explanation, and I can provide it with like this text. I could say like explain this SQL query, and after that I can say please provide with the simplest of explanation. Okay, now I need to format my explanation as well. I could say explanation underscore formatted, and that's fine. Explanation dot format SQL query equals SQL query. Okay, now I can generate the explanation from the model. Okay, then I can say like explanation equals explanation dot text, and then I can write it on the screen. I'll save my file, click it once again. Yeah, you can see right over here that this is actually the cool explanation of this query. Okay, so yeah, all of our things are actually working really nice. Now we need to actually format it on our UI. Okay, for that, what I'll do, first of all, I'll simply get rid of all these write statements. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, now I need to specify a container. I can say with st dot container. Okay, so now I can just say like st dot success. Yeah, I can say SQL query generated successfully. Okay, I can say here is your query below. Okay, that's fine. Then we can specify a code block here. Okay, so SteamLit also provide you with this feature as well, and we can specify here as language as well, which would be equals to SQL. So it would actually format our code accordingly. Okay, so let's just try to see how it's looking on the screen. So if I just click on generate SQL query, so you see that it's just generated a SQL query for us. Okay, but it's just giving me the lines as well. That's not an issue. We can format our SQL query because the response is coming in this way. So for that, what we can do, we can simply go all the way on the top where we got the SQL query, and I will write this line of code. Okay, like SQL query, we are stripping these things like this thing from like SQL query, and we are also like stripping this like at the end. Okay, these ones. So if I just save this and if I just try to run it once again, now I think it would be formatted accordingly. Let's just try to see. Yeah, you can see right over here now it's looking like really nice. You can simply copy to clipboard from here and you can paste it like anywhere. So that's really a nice feature. Okay, now same goes with our like expected response. I can say like st dot success expected response or like expected output of this SQL query will be, okay, then I can specify like st.markdown function, because we don't need a code block right here, okay? And we can say like where it was, e output. Yeah, this thing. Let's just try to see how it's looking now. Yeah, now it's looking really nice. You can see right over here. And the last part is that we need explanation as well, okay? So I can simply say like st.success explanation of this SQL query. So for that, what we can do, we can just simply this thing, st.markdown and explanation. I will save this, and what I can do, I can simply click once again to see now how it looks. All right, I can see this thing like explanation looking like really nice, but I don't know why the table is actually looking like this. Let me just try to kill my terminal and load my application once again. Open up a new terminal and just run it once again. I'll just paste it once again, like bring unique age from employees table. Okay, it's generating SQL query. You can see right over here. Yeah, you can see that it just brought back the query. This is actually the expected output, and this is the explanation. Okay, so now it's actually looking really nice, and our app is actually working flawless. Now let me just try to give it some other examples. I'll say like get the names and ages of employees who are older than 30. Okay, let's see what it brings back. So you see that this is actually our SQL query. Select name, comma, age from employees where age is greater than 30. You can see that expected output of this SQL query will be like name, age. Okay, so this would be our expected output. And this is actually the explanation of this SQL query. It's actually looking really great and promising. Okay, so now I'm trying to give it like an example of join. The last one to actually close our video. Okay, so I will simply click on like generate SQL query. I gave it like display names and departments of employees along with their corresponding department name from the employees and departments table. Okay, so you can see this is the example of join in SQL. Okay, expected output would be like this, and this is the explanation of this SQL query. Okay, so it's looking really great because Google's Gemini model is actually really great, okay, in performing these simple tasks, and it's totally free. You can make your own implementation, and you can actually make it like really good and promising application out of this Gemini, okay? So I believe that this video has helped you a lot in learning like how to implement Google's Gemini Pro model into your application, because this is the new model we just released like in the mid of like December 2023, and it's like really a great and promising model. Okay, so that marks the end of this video. I hope you like this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall catch you up in some other one. Till then, have a good day. Bye.